Everybody, welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. Zach Bruner here again, but with Luke Reimer and Trevor Land. We have an early stream today if you're watching live or watching it after the fact. If you're listening to it after the fact, the Lombardi Sweep podcast, you can join us live on the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. So definitely go subscribe there. We did just hit 12K. Big deal. We're feeling ourselves for a second, but on to 13K. Help us get to 13K soon. Go over there and subscribe, and you can join us live, join us in the chat like the other people who talk tonight will. But tonight, we haven't done a formal Lombardi sweep in a while. Tonight, we're just talking about some of the free agent moves that have already happened, some of the free agent moves we hope to see happen. For context, we're recording this Tuesday night, so technically, free agency opens tomorrow. Obviously, legal tampering period is going on right now. So we have a bunch of deals in place, and surprisingly, the Packers have a lot of things to say. But overall, let's gauge everyone here. Luke, how are you feeling? 0 to 10. A lot of Packers news to start the week, which isn't common. So 0 to 10, how are we feeling?
0 to 10. I'm probably about a 7. It's fun to see new players come in. Kind of hurts seeing some of the old faces and fan favorites leave, especially when they go to rival teams. But just in general, as a Pack fan, I think it's an exciting time to bring some new faces in, especially ones that have performed in the past, right?
Mm-hmm. Trevor, how are you feeling?
I'll go 6. There's still some glaring holes, but there's not really a whole lot to complain about. Like, obviously, you may be on one side of the spectrum or the other on Aaron Jones versus Josh Jacobs, but at least, they have a running back, right? At least they didn't just release Aaron Jones and get nobody. Got a good safety. I'm a huge Xavier McKinney guy. Corey Ballantyne is back. Say what you will about the money, but Keyshawn Nixon, we're running out of locker room guys, so it's good for him to get back. Not a whole lot to complain about yet, but there will be coming forward as there are still a lot of glaring holes in this team.
Yeah, for sure. We can start the free agency talk, I suppose, sort of chronologically. Obviously, I went over a little bit of it yesterday and in the previous episode for those listening. A lot of cuts, a lot of stuff going on with the Packers, and we were actually live immediately after the Josh Jacobs signing. And if you go back and watch, you can kind of figure out when exactly I got the text that Aaron Jones was officially gone. And I started stumbling over my words while staring down, trying to figure out what to say. So if you're listening, maybe figure out when that happened. If you were watching, I think it's pretty obvious. But we will hit everything. The Packers started with cutting De'Vondre Campbell. That's a post June 1st cut designated. So we're still carrying his salary until June 1st. June 2nd, it'll drop off. But essentially, he's gone for all intents and purposes. He is going to save us $10.5 million. David Bakhtiari put out that lengthy social media message, and he's posted quite a few times since then. He is no longer a Packer. His release saves the Packers around $20 million as well. So 2 veterans gone, but just between those two, it frees up $31 million. Pretty big. Then we get the news I was just talking about with Josh Jacobs signing. Josh Jacobs signs a 4-year, $48 million contract. There's a lot of misreporting and conflicting reports out there, but from everything I know, it's an out after the very first year. But that's not debatable. It's an out after the first year, but the roster bonus in the second year is the debatable part, I would say. He has a $5.3 million cap this year, hit against the cap this year. Next year, there's a $6 million roster bonus on the 5th league day of the year, is my interpretation from what I've heard and seen. So this is where it gets tricky. It may only be guaranteed if he's on the roster. And that could have been negotiated in. It may be guaranteed regardless. But if it's only guaranteed if he's on the roster, which is my interpretation of it, and this is the part that's getting misreported, then the Packers could cut him anytime before free agency, essentially, and wash their hands of Josh Jacobs, which is interesting. Additionally, there's also a $30,000 bonus per every game next year. And then every year after that, it's going to be $40,000 bonus every single game he plays. Very important since he's going to be injury prone from here on out. Missed some games last year, nearly 800 touches the past couple of years. So interesting, but overall, good running back. I think you can't really debate it. So this is what I want to ask you guys. There was about an hour where a lot of people thought Packers had Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones. How are you feeling then? And then how are you feeling post Jones, which we'll get into? But were you really vibing with the two stud running backs, or what? Like, what are we feeling with that approach to free agency?
Go ahead, Trevor.
In a theoretical place where they have both, I mean, how could you not be excited, right? I mean, you get a smart offensive coordinator or head coach, those two, they'll figure out a way, you can put, we talk about best playmakers, make sure they're on the field. You could have a split backfield or you could have shotgun, one on the left, one on the right. You can do tons of things with both of them. That was an absolute 10. That seemed like a home run move. But then again, it's the Packers, so everybody said they were going to bring back both, and I wasn't really quick to jump on that bandwagon. But theoretically, it's great. Give Jordan Love as many weapons as he can. I know he's not a rookie anymore, but you'd still love to give a young quarterback a lot of weapons. But now with Aaron Jones gone, I mean, that safety net is kind of gone. A.J. Dillon is gone, which is good, but how much faith do you put in Emmanuel Wilson? Because like you said, injury-prone Josh Jacobs, there's a high risk that he's going to be starting multiple games and not just one.
Yeah, I understand the point. I've been on record in like almost all of our shows saying that the more stars you get on the team, the better. The more better players you get on the team, the better, right? But maybe it was just me processing. Like, Packers went out and got Josh Jacobs. That must mean something for Aaron Jones, even though they didn't Brian Gutekunst say that we're going to work to keep Aaron Jones in Green Bay for the rest of his career at the end of the season. So that's just another it's just another Brian Gutekunst smoke and mirror kind of play, which we've been accustomed to, but doesn't seem like the fan base has kind of caught on to yet. Like I shut off the show, like Aaron Jones is like an all-time Packer legend. It sucks to see him go, and now to see him go to Minnesota. I was concerned he was going to Dallas, but Minnesota may be worse. I mean, it sucks, and that's not any slight against Josh Jacobs. Like Zach, you said, of course he's a very good running back. Would it be awesome to have both of them? Great, but if you really sat down and thought about it, it's kind of tough to think that both of them were going to be in a green and gold uniform at the time of Josh Jacobs signing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of different than both you, I suppose, just because, and again, I'm not going to reiterate everything, but because of everything I said yesterday, thank God one of them's not on the team. I think unless you would say Josh Jacobs plays the even weeks and Aaron Jones plays the odd weeks, I think both of them would have been horrendous last year or next year. Like, they're both volume running backs that need to get into a rhythm. And we've seen so many times how Aaron Jones is in a rhythm. He gets taken out of the game to get off of his rhythm, and then he's just bad to end the game. And Josh Jacobs is always not very good to start games. Like, he needs that 16th, 17th, and 18th carry. So next year, by the way, assume the Packers try to run Josh Jacobs into the ground, and then he's probably going to be gone anyway. So Packers aren't done addressing the backfield. They're definitely going to get that second running back. I would assume, and I think it makes the most sense for them to do so in the draft. We're probably going to spend what most people would consider a too early of a draft pick on a running back, but it's going to be labeled as one of the biggest needs. So that's what they're going to be doing. We'll see if they take a good one or if they take another A.J. Dillon, I suppose. But yeah, we have Josh Jacobs, $5 million cap it this year. Let's get into Aaron Jones then gone. Aaron Jones, I mean, for my money, if he's fully healthy, he might be the third best running back in the NFL. Like, I think he's up there for sure. I think Josh Jacobs is good. Like, if we're ranking him, we'll do that after this, the ranking show. If it's S to D or whatever, I think he's a B or a C. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's great. I think he's good. I think he's a good player. Like, he's a downhill runner who has okay hands.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's fine. And that's going to be okay. I don't know how well it's going to work in this system, but we shall see. Aaron Jones had a $17 million dead cap heading into this offseason. We talked about it before the end of our last season show. That's why they needed to address it. And they wanted him to take a 50% pay cut. Said it on the stream yesterday. This is exactly what the Packers do every fucking time with a veteran that's homegrown to their definition. So all those reports are true. He didn't want to take it, especially after he took a pay cut last year. Now, this is where the reporting can't be right. There's no shot it can be right. I was talking about how the Packers can list him as a post-June 1st cut. Every team gets two, so it'd be De'Vondre Campbell and Aaron Jones. And having him be a post-June 1st cut would have freed roughly around $12 million. They're not doing that, supposedly. They're just straight up cutting him, which is a $5 million savings instead of 12. So unless there's another person for next year, maybe they're just trying to not go all in this year, try to save some money for next year. I don't know, but it just doesn't really make sense. I don't know why they would do that, but nonetheless, we have Aaron Jones on the books for like $12 million still or something like that. And then he goes and signs a $7 million contract with the Vikings. So he stays in division. Packers will see him twice. But yeah, Luke, I think you said it best. Like, it's weird to call somebody a legend while they're still here.
Mm-hmm.
It just always feels weird to me. But there's no doubt.
Yeah,
like, he's the best running back the Packers have ever had.
Yeah, probably.
I different eras, so it's tough to compare. But in terms of talent, there's none. No one's even close, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% agree. And to this point, Brian Gutekunst and like Sam Presti must be in like bed together, because the Packers are just turning into the Oklahoma City Thunder here, stocking up draft picks and trading players while they're good for more picks.
That and Carolina Panthers seem to be doing the same thing. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird way to run a team, but as we've said, Packers aren't trying to win a Super Bowl. We're trying to go 9-8,
well,
10-7.
The other thing, and since Brian Gutekunst became the GM, since we've had this show, we've always revolved around the fact like that he wants to build his own team, right? Over the last 3 off seasons, it's been Devontae Rodgers and Aaron Jones, like the 3 best players on the team, gone. And I read that the only Ted Thompson player left is Kenny Clark. So who knows how long Kenny Clark stays around too here.
Well, I have him written down in the document. Trust me, he's the next one to get the veteran treatment, without a doubt. He's in his contract year.
Yeah,
I think they're going to restructure it and make it seem player friendly for another 2 or 3 years. And then once he hits 30, they're going to cut up. They're going to make him take the pay cut. They're going to David Bakhtiari him, and then they're going to cut him. Like, it's
sounds about right.
Yeah. We've done so much for you. You would be nothing without us. Come back and play for a Super Bowl. Look, we got Jordan Love. And then he's not going to do it. So stupid. Okay. But the Aaron Jones news was intelligently placed, strategically placed, because they could belly it, right afterwards, back it up with Packers sign Xavier McKinney. And a lot of people's pain from Aaron Jones is soothed. A lot of people didn't know Packers cut Aaron Jones because so many people were talking about Jones and Jacobs together. And then, here comes Xavier McKinney. So I've heard of a lot of people today finding out Aaron Jones actually isn't on the Packers, which is interesting. But nonetheless, Packers get a young safety, 4-year, $68 million deal. I don't think there's any doubt that he's talented. And I wrote an article on flurrysports.org, what Packer fans should know about Xavier McKinney. So some measurable stuff. He was named a freak by Tim Tebow, which I think is a pretty good accomplishment, and just how he plays football, essentially. So if you don't know about him because he's spent the past 4 years with the Giants, go read that. Former 2nd-round pick out of Alabama. I don't know how he fits on the Packers. I don't think he does, but he's for sure a good player. So I guess we'll see how Hafley uses him. It feels like another Brian Gutekunst move to get talent without consulting with his team, I guess. But I don't know. Trevor, you talked about how big of a fan you are of him. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. He's a difference maker. He can do a lot of different things, and he's 24, right? So that's cool. Because we know we like to dump him at 30. Can't wait for that for Rashawn Gary. But beside the point, um, it was interesting because I was happy we got him. It's a lot of money, clearly, that we're throwing at him, which is fine, whatever. But uh, it was very funny seeing how much people love this, and so like Gutekunst is amazing. Um, their safety room outside of him was Anthony Johnson Jr., Tyler Coyle, Rudy Ford, and Zane Anderson. Not like they had a freaking choice. So, again, I'm glad he made the move, but let's not act like he's some messiah when this was a massive glaring need. And every time we've drafted safety, it is seemingly blown up in our face. So happy to have him, but this is not some Goot masterclass. It's just the basics of being a GM, in my opinion.
That's fair. How are you feeling about it, McKinney, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, it's a spot they had to fill. They filled it with talent. I feel great about McKinney.
My issue with it from an X's and O's standpoint, I should say, is Halfley, the new defensive coordinator they brought in. For those who don't know, because since we haven't really talked about it, we haven't really had a show. So he's going to go back to that 4-3, which I think is great. That should help to stop the run. That's the easiest way to do so. So he's going to do that. It's a lot harder to build a good 4-3 in the NFL now, just because we don't have those outside backers that are super important. They're basically inside linebackers, or the quote unquote outside linebackers in the NFL now are going to become edge rushers. So it'll be interesting to see how we tackle that. But aside from that, he's going to have really aggressive corners, and then he likes to play single high deep safety. So I've read from a lot of people who supposedly are in the Packers building and cover the Packers for The Athletic and ESPN and CBS that this is that guy. He's going to be the deep safety. And if so, this is not going to be good because he's not a deep safety. Like, the whole point of Xavier McKinney and why he's so good is that Wink Martindale used him fucking everywhere. Like, so much so, I wrote this in the article. Let me find exactly where he played. Okay, so he played deep less than half the time last year as a safety. He was 41% deep. He played 34% in the box. He played 15% at slot. And then he lined up on the line of scrimmage 7% of the time as well. Like, Wink used him everywhere. That's where he's best. He should be a box guy. And I'm not saying the Packers won't do that. If he is used as a box guy, I feel really good about how this defense is getting built. But then we still need a deep safety, because it better not be Rudy Ford. To Trevor's point, all the names he listed. And it might be the top draft need, and there's some decent safeties in the draft. So we might do that, but we can't keep acting like we figured it out. Like, this is the guy to run the system, because it's not. And what I was alluding to earlier with my worry, Gutekunst may have done that and just got talent and was like, okay, now figure out what to do with them. And that could mean Halfley doesn't run his system, which is bad, or he does run his system and it's a square peg round hole, which the Packers have done since the existence of time, which also is frustrating. But overall, I'm excited about Xavier McKinney. He's inexperienced, which, again, I wrote in the article, could be good or bad. Like, he's started 46 games across 4 years in the NFL. He played 2 seasons in college, essentially. He could grow into a much, much better player, or he may continue to be injury prone and just peaks. It seems like we're paying him, and we'll get to this and with other things too. The Packers continue to pay people with what they're going to do, not with what they've done. And again, if he exceeds expectations, great. Otherwise, then we're overpaying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's nothing new. You just described every single player on the Packers outside of like 5 different guys.
For sure. And there's one agent that's fucking running rampant around the NFL right now, David Mulugeta. That's Deshaun's agent, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember his first name. It's Mulugeta. He's the agent for McKinney. He gets people to pay for what they are going to be. He's also representing Jordan Love, which is bad news, because he's going to pitched the MVP Hall of Famer thing, and the Packers are going to pay him $50 million a year. And I'm not really exaggerating. I think he's probably, I think a safe assumption is 45. I think it could push for higher, which is insane. And that's why Packers kind of have to tread water until they're able to free up more money from the De'Vondre Campbell thing to extend Jordan Love. But yeah, we'll see if McKinney, keep him away from four-wheelers. He got hurt on a four-wheeler and it knocked him out for half of a fucking season. So let's not do that. But I like him. I'm good about it. I'm good with him being on the team. Keyshawn Nixon, another D-back, signed today. This was a mind-blowing contract. A 3-year, $18 million deal for a bad slot corner and kick returner who was good 2 years ago. We'll see if he gets back to that. Again, we are paying him for what he could be, not for what he just did. It's not a what have you done for me lately. It's what I hope you're going to do. Again, his agent, Torrey Dandy, he's the Debo Samuel, AJ Brown agent who's incredible. On top of the 3-year, $18 million, by the way, Packers are still 1.5 in the hole with dead cap from him as well. So we got him on the books for like $7 or $8 million this year, which is a top corner on the market right now. So interesting move. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an exorbitant amount of money for a returner. And if the new kickoff rules, I think they're going to be up for vote, right? This year.
It's going to pass. Yeah. I'm not sure if it goes in for this year though.
And that should help him, right? It should help him. But like, I've seen way too many times when he's returning shit that he has no business returning. And I understand you have to return it to score a touchdown, but like 9 yards deep is coming out way too many times. And to your point, I saw stat he ranked like 14 out of 25 for slot corners. That's average at best, to your point. So
that's generous, by the way.
Yeah. So like if he is average as a slot and good as a kick returner, like that still doesn't add up to that kind of money. It just does not.
Yeah, I mean, he got the benefit of playing. I mean, we talked about how terrible of a schedule the Packers had last year in terms of like bad teams. There aren't very many good slot players he played, especially in the NFC North. He got lucky with that, but we'll see what happens going forward. I will say, I fear the Packers are going to use him on offense. That's one worry. And then two, he's kind of the only spark on this team right now. So I guess paying for that isn't the worst thing if he can get back to returning kicks. But like Aaron Jones, the biggest thing with him is that he injected life into this offense. That's not going to be Josh Jacobs. And that's absolutely not an insult. It's just not what he is. So maybe that's Keyshawn Nixon. I don't know. But yeah. That is it for moves essentially. John Runyon was lost to the Giants. Darnell Savage went to the Jags. Obviously, Aaron Jones went to the Vikings. So let's talk about what's next, and then we can talk about some needs, and then we'll get out of here probably. What was that?
You forgot one. Who? Everyone's talking about losing all the leadership in Aaron Jones and David Bakhtiari. Packers brought back one of the biggest leaders on the team in Tyler Davis.
Did they?
Yeah.
And Jonathan Owens is to the Bears. I don't remember.
Yeah, Owens went to the Bears.
That's a huge loss, guys.
Well, I never got to see Simone.
Yeah, no shit.
She never came out for fried perch on Friday.
Crazy. That's insane. Bitch. He played well for the Packers, actually. So it kind of is a loss. He's going to tackle everybody when the Packers play him. But yeah, so what's next? Obviously, Jordan Love's going to get his extension, 40 plus. Don't be shocked. There's going to be a lot of old white people in Wisconsin very upset by the number he sees or he's going to get. Like, that's just going to be the reality, but is what it is. And then Kenny Clark is the other one I wrote down. He's going to get a restructure, hopefully this offseason. It's going to be for a couple years, and then he's going to get pushed out in the same way Aaron Jones did. So do not be surprised for that. You can come back to this video then if you would like to. Probably off season of 2026 or 7, probably 7.
It might be like 2 years on this exact date.
Honestly, it's I thought the Packers were going to change after what Aaron Rodgers said about them and stuff like that out of spite. And you know what? I kind of respect that they stayed to exactly what they've been. Like they're not even going to change out of spite, but they might if the rumors are true and Aaron Rodgers is running as the vice president candidate for fucking Robert Kennedy or whatever. That's a mind fuck to me. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like Kennedy, but
no,
they need to flip. They need to flip him. Rodgers needs to be pres, and Kennedy can make the decisions as vice.
I love Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he needs to be leading our country.
Yeah, I think that's a good
if
point.
Our president can throw a spiral tighter than yours, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess.
I think.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, hey, we talk about getting on the road and campaigning. What does he have? 8 games, 8 different cities a year. I mean, that's pretty effective right there.
It would be incredible to have a leader strap on a helmet. That'd be incredible. Quite the change up, at least, you know. I like trying new things. If it doesn't work, it's only 4 years, so who cares?
It'd be great, like in a debate when Rodgers going up against like Kamala Harris. Like, how many Super Bowls have you won?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shut them up.
You're right.
Got nothing. Oh, man. There's a lot of shit happening over in England, huh?
Sure is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
I have
killed
an
her.
issue.
They killed her for sure.
Okay, fine. Why do we care at all?
Yeah, correct. We fought a war not to care. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but
you know what happens if she is dead?
Nothing.
You know what happens if any of us die? We have to find a new host for the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bigger deal. It's insane.
They got like the whole mistress situation going on, right?
Yeah.
So why would they kill her instead of the mistress?
I don't know.
And also, I mean, it's not like the money they're paying her is not going to her anymore. Like, they don't save money. They just give more to everybody else.
It's so dumb. I hate the royal family. It's such an inbred, stupid group of people.
There's no reason anyone needs to know about it.
You know what would get me back on board is if Meghan Markle came back and said, she's out, it's my turf now. You know, like a WWE style entrance. Like, this is mine, money in the bank, cash it in. I'm now the new Duchess.
I thought you were going to say if Rodgers is going to be VP and king.
That would
work too.
I think we need to invade England. I've been saying it for a long time. Like, we haven't had like a good country invasion for a while. Russia's trying.
Yeah.
And they're just not getting the job done. People would be on board with us taking England, I think.
Also, England is full of the sorriest sacks of shit ever. Like, I hear like over there, people are like, oh, I'm visiting my parents in like a year because it's so far away. Oh, how far away is it? 45 minutes? Like, we drive that far for like A&W sometimes.
I drive that far to work.
Yeah, like, get real. Like, there's no way they'd be spread too thin. They'd be whining the whole time. They're like, oh, it's so cold. It's 45 degrees and sleeting. Like, get realistic here.
Yeah, it's really not surprising how we won the Revolutionary War. It's
they went on the road. They actively went on the road. How did they think that was going to go?
It's because
we're still talking about how we dumped tea into the fucking lake and it ended them. Like, they're such whiny groups of bitches that they're like, they freaked out that much about who cares? And have coffee, weirdos.
Yeah, and that right there is why a Patriot can beat any mascot in the NFL.
We may have to episode 3 after this. We may have to revisit episode 1. We'll see. It's never too soon.
Also, like, they controlled or enslaved, however you want to look at it, like half the world at that time. You're fine. A little tea will not hurt you.
It is crazy that they kind of folded over tea.
Yeah, exactly. Big momentum shift.
And like, they didn't just fold to the U.S. They folded everywhere from that.
Mm-hmm. To your point, Trevor, they were the biggest thing in the world. It's like, I mean, you know what it was? It was the Indianapolis Colts under Jeff Saturday against the Vikings. They let one little pass from Kirk Cousins like deflate them. It was insane.
Well, and now you look at them and they just have a bunch of artifacts from the places they used to be in, which is like the most grown-up version of got your nose ever. Like, okay.
You know what?
You have one pillar out of 20? Cool.
I have a better sports comparison for it.
Okay, perfect.
It was Robert Ory making the 3 against the Kings.
That's true. Yeah. Big shot Bob. What's he up to? Does he coach?
No.
I hope so.
He's
I love
probably
Robert Ory.
misspelled on that Kobe statue.
Didn't he go broke?
No shot. He's got so many championship rings to sell. He's fine. Okay, while you look that up, let's talk about Packers' needs yet in free agency and the draft. Again, I think they have 13 draft picks now because of the compensatory picks, and they still have money to spend if they choose to do so. I think there's a lot left to do on the defensive side of the ball. You guys can tell me if I'm missing anything or rank these, but I mean, the biggest needs still are then inside linebacker. We need a deep safety, and we need outside linebacker. You could argue cornerback. It's not like our cornerback 2 is any good. I just don't think we're really going to address it, but we shall see. Anything I'm missing there, Trevor?
No, I mean, I texted, was texting one of my friends about it, and I was like, I'm worried about the linebacker. He's like, well, Isaiah McDuffie is there. I'm like, all right, who else?
Yeah.
Also, Isaiah McDuffie has been good for 1 year, and again, is my size and weight. So that's not great. On defense, obviously, safety is still a massive issue. I'm glad we got our strength and conditioning team the fuck out, because I don't know why we can't hire a competent one, but we haven't since probably before I was born. And the new one's probably going to be shit too. Like, that's just the way it works. It's not me being a pessimist. That's just how it happens. So we need depth on depth on depth. And right now, I listed the safeties. We have Xavier, McKinney, and that is pretty much it. Inside linebacker, we have Isaiah McDuffie after 1 good year, and that is also legitimately it.
And if there's a position, we talked about how the Packers needed a veteran wide receiver last year. They still do, by the way. That would help the growth of the young guys so much. Packers need a veteran linebacker this year more than ever. Obviously, new system coming in. So if somebody already knows the system, if they can be that coach on the field, that would be massive. Just teaching these guys how to play linebacker in the NFL, because that was kind of the only thing Joe Barry had going for him. So with him gone now, Hafley's going to be a D-back guy. Like, we need good linebacker coaching. We need a linebacker veteran to help it out. And that's something they have to solve in free agency. There are some veteran linebackers, inside linebackers out there still. For outside linebacker, I think it's going to be tough. The big splash I could see the Packers going for, honestly, and I think you two would probably hate it. I could see them trying for Devin White just because the system makes sense. Would you? Okay. I mean, he's an obvious upgrade, obviously. He's going to cost a lot. He's probably a 12 to 13 million guy would be my guess. I don't know, somewhere around that. But if we're talking middle linebacker, inside linebacker for a 4-3, again, Isaiah McDuffie's not big enough. We're going from 3-4 to 4-3. We're going from 2 guys to 1 guy. So we need somebody.
Real quick before you go, Luke, you look like the picture on the inside flap of books.
Of books.
I see what you're saying. I didn't really have thoughts in my head, but I just wanted to state that Robert Ory is not broke. He is actually like historic, or his reputation is that he's a very frugal spender. So I don't know where I got that from. Yeah, like you definitely, and maybe even more than like a 3-4 defense. Like, you're going to need a linebacker who can really control what the fuck's going on out there. You don't have another guy in the inside, at least to start, that's going to be able to help direct people around. So that kind of feels like more of a veteran guy, to your point, Zach, as opposed to let's draft a guy and put him in the spot right away, right?
Yeah, as of right now, I don't know who would wear the green dot, to be honest. It would either have to be a safety or a linebacker, and it can't be Quay Walker, I don't think.
Make it Kenny Clark. Let's have some fun.
Maybe. I would enjoy it. It would work well, but I would enjoy it.
It'd be fucking Rudy Ford.
It might. As of now, I think it has to be. Mm-hmm. If we walked out with the team today, we shall see. The other thing, by the way, I will come around fully if the Packers go out and just sign fucking Justin Simmons. If that's the only thing the Packers do the rest of the offseason, we're going to be a better football team. He is so good at football, and he's the deep safety we need. and he could be the green dot. He's the leader. The D-backs would be good if we have Justin Simmons and Xavier McKinney. That would be very good. Again, $10 million probably. So we shall see. Offensive needs. We need an offensive tackle, obviously. And people are saying left tackle. Again, I would say left or right. Both are on the table. We need a left for sure. But if we can move Zach Tom into right guard, then that solves that need.
Yep.
And yeah, that would help a lot. We need running back 2. Again, hopefully that is in the draft. And we need a guard if we don't get that right tackle. And people aren't talking about it this year, but I still think center is on the table. Josh Myers played better last year, but he didn't play great. And I don't want to base anything off of 1 year. So center, I think, needs to be at least taken in the draft. That's not necessarily something we have to take in free agency, even though there are some cheap, good veteran centers out there that would really help the entire offensive line, probably. But yeah, I think we could bring back Lucas Patrick too, by the way. That'd be good.
Like, if you're not worried, like, just look at the Packers depth chart right now. And I know ESPN isn't always most accurate, but just look at the depth chart and tell yourself, if all 5 of those players were all pros, this team still is a problem with lack of depth. Like, so I see people are hyping up every player on planet Earth. That's still a massive red flag. What do we bring in, like 11 offensive linemen last year? That was dumb and it was too many. But right now we have what, like 5, 6? Pretty much that's it, maybe. So that's a massive issue. The whole line needs work.
It does. I don't think it's a panic mode, but getting reliable, good tackles is a big deal. That's not easy to do. That's why there's going to be some getting paid a lot of money this offseason. I'm not saying we need to go out and pay Tyron Smith.
No,
I don't think that's the solution. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he's still really good, but we need something for the future, I suppose, at left tackle. And that's why my pitch is to go offensive tackle in the first round.
Always.
Yeah, I think it's the 3rd year in a row I've said it, but that's my pitch again, if anyone cares. So
eventually it's got to hit, right?
Well, it's not even a prediction. I'm just saying this would help the team the most. And, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Always offensive linemen.
Yeah. They are the offensive linemen that go in the first round, that the miss rate is very little.
Right.
Except unless you're the Packers, then we miss a lot.
Or the Raiders.
Not in the first round. I mean, historically, like way back, but like not recently.
I still got what's his nuts on my mind.
Marshall Newhouse?
No.
Oh.
It's gonna kill me. I gotta look him up.
I don't know. I mean, the only recent bust in the first round, like huge bust, was the guy from the Titans who was out of the league in like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. That was a couple years ago. Went down to the Miami and something. I don't know. But in terms of guards, I think this is a position the Packers could actually fill relatively cheaply, and it would help the team out a lot. Let me bring up the guys who are still available as of recording.
Real quick, I know it was a while ago. Derek Sherrod will forever be burned into my mind.
Yeah, not agree.
It was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Lucas Patrick coming back would be super cheap. That would be super good. Kevin Zeitler is certainly only a year or a 2 player.
Wisconsin
guy. We will not make this free agent pickup, but I would love it. He's 34. I think Brian Gutekunst would puke if he even got on the phone with him. He would absolutely hate it.
And I'm sorry to cut you off here, Zach. I just had this guy on my mind. Not a first round pick, a second round pick. You guys remember how bad Jason Spriggs was at football?
Yeah. And I liked him too.
Yeah, he's
just dumb.
Yeah.
Remember Royce Newman, guys, when he dominated that Reese's Senior Bowl?
I got death threats over Royce Newman. How sad is that? Apologies.
I knew that
came back to say my bad.
I knew that season was going to go down the drain when the first jersey I saw on opening day was Royce Newman. That's when I knew the season was not going to go well.
Not great. Not great. And he's kept his job against all odds. So good for him, I suppose.
I interviewed.
I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Like, offensive linemen are cool people. He can be a terrible football player and still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really hope you didn't watch our podcast before you interviewed him.
I mean, I think you would have had other words if he did. But yeah, a lot of good veteran guards out there. We got Vaitai out there, Dalton Risner, Matt Filer's out there. That's about it for guards, I suppose. But Trey Turner, I mean, he'll be cheap.
The shortstop.
Yeah. I was just about to say he plays baseball. He's fast.
Very fast.
They look a little different, I would say. I don't know. Anything else? I mean, Packers, again, we'll have a couple more little moves, probably some re-signings, but for the most part, from here until June 2nd, we'll start to get end of May. We'll start to get some heat. It's going to start warming up for the Jordan Love contract, but I think it's going to be pretty quiet. We kind of are. I mean, we got 13 draft picks. I think Gutekunst is going to do some trades, so I don't think we'll draft 13 guys. I think we could trade for somebody like non-draft wise. Actually.
Kicker.
No, we got a kicker.
13
5th rounder. I wouldn't hate it, but what would make you more mad? Let's end on this.
Okay.
Would you be more mad if the Packers didn't bring in any other kicker?
Okay.
Or they used a 6th round pick on a kicker? Not 5th, 6th.
If they didn't bring another in.
If they spent draft capital on a kicker.
I mean, both make me bad.
Because
if
they use a 6th round pick, at least there's a chance, a sliver of a chance, and it's dumb to use capital, but a chance the position gets better.
I mean, if you bring somebody in, it has a chance to get better too. At least we know what they are. Let's see who's free agent kicker. Let's end on that, actually.
The worst.
The good ones are gone, but yeah.
Yeah, the worst athletes in football are college kickers, so I don't want a college kicker ever.
Nick Folk is out there. I'm fine bringing him in. Who cares? He's 39. Fat Randy's out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Fat Randy would be great in Green Bay.
Yeah. Greg
Joey
Joseph
Sly could be all right.
Joey Sly is okay. The last thing I remember him was getting me negative on some fantasy week, so I'm not overly positive on him. But yeah, I don't know. Randy wants to know who are the Packers signing next. Probably Josh Nijman. What's the next rating tier list? We are going to be doing it after this, and we are going to be rating the best fries. And you'll get that at 6:30 p.m. Central tomorrow on our YouTube page. And thoughts on maple bread? Never heard of it. I'm sure it's great.
Don't know what it is. I think it's made up.
It's probably not made up. Is Randy from Canada or Vermont?
Vermont. Just they're playing the championship tomorrow in the NEC.
Okay.
Eight.
They're always a sneaky pick.
Yeah, 8 straight conference win for them. Conference tournament win, I should say.
Pretty good. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow with the ranking show. Again, if you're just listening to the Lombardi Sweep podcast right now, the ranking show is the new podcast between us three, where we are ranking anything and everything, and we're taking all suggestions for future ranks. It doesn't have to be sports related. Like I just said, tomorrow we are going to be ranking the best fries. So I'm sure it's going to get heated. I feel like we get a little bit more heated on things that aren't sports on our sports shows. So we'll see what happens, but we'll see you then. Bye.
And look it up on Spotify, the ranking show.
Yes. Listen to it. Rank us 5 stars, please.